terrifying.
That was terrifying. Yeah, that's the opposite.
And it's a scary story from recording.
I think one of the interesting things about how we met, it wasn't through a shared love of a particular style of music. We met as artists, we were all studying fine art, and we all kind of had a very similar sense of humor, and we just liked hanging out with each other. So I think through each other, we discovered music, different types of music. Thom has a heavy metal background, and Gus has more of a classical English folk background, and I have more of a kind of like British LA hip hop from the 90s vibe. I always start with saying it's guitar music, indie guitar music. That's a good foundation to kind of explain the music.
I'd say it was more like experimental, but quite classic sounding, sort of alternative rock, maybe.
January 2020, that's when we started. And then we worked throughout the pandemic, coming in and out of lockdown. And I think Joe was working on things. She's always working on things, and throughout that period anyway. And then when we could get together, we kind of brought everything together.
We were lucky, actually, this time, for the first time, we had our own studio. So we rented a place and we wrote there and we recorded there. Our producer, Charlie, moved all his equipment in there to record us. And it was quite a clever move on our part, unwittingly, to have got our own studio, because it meant that we could, as long as we were being careful, still keep working when we wanted to, and exist in our own bubble, really, which is the way that we always generally thrive the most, I think, creatively. Well, I think that we felt that it was a very positive song to come back with. It's probably one of the most upbeat songs on the album. It's about essentially going to a festival, having a good time. We've been away for a few years, but we're looking forward to getting back on tour next year. But, at the moment, it feels like what people want is positivity in their lives. That was a big reason. It's just you and me now. I think we have a very good relationship with our producer, Charlie Andrew. He's always produced our music really since we started being a band. And he's somebody who likes to play around a lot in the studio. He's got a very good knowledge of classical music. He knows when to use, real instruments. He's very passionate about using, real strings, real brass when it's appropriate. But then also sometimes it's appropriate to use synthesized things. I mean, a good example on this album would be a song like The Actor, which has this very kind of like 1980s sound. So we actually thought for that one, we should use quite lo-fi synthesized strings. But then, for other songs, using real strings gives you a much fuller, lusher, more rich sound. Oh, man.
There's nothing really funny that happens.
We nearly got mugged. Do you remember that? That was
Oh yeah, we nearly got mugged. Yeah,
that's terrifying.
That was terrifying. Yeah, that's the opposite.
And it's a scary story from recording.
There was a guy on a bike. I think they call it snaking, where he's like keeping an eye on us and basically following us, and he's determining whether we're worth mugging. So he came up really close to me on his bike, and he was just like, "All right, bruv, what are you saying?" I think I said, "Nothing much. I'm just having a conversation with my friend." And we kept on walking, and he was like, "Right." Yeah, he was just casing us. I think he just realized it may be not worth it. Well, we work really hard at writing music and recording music. And so we want that hard work to translate to a live arena. So we are diligent learning the songs, and we enjoy playing live.
I think the ideal kind of thing that we've always wanted from our concerts was almost to like give people the experience of listening to one of our albums, but on a huge level with, other senses being stimulated too. Yeah, create a kind of three-dimensional album for people. But if somebody had that experience at one of our gigs, I think it would be a win for us.
I saw a band called Curl. It's a collective of three independent artists who I admire greatly. Like they also produce soundtracks, and it was just a lot of energy, and it felt very special.
Back to the Jury. I saw Back to the Jury recently. It was great to finally go. He's just amazing, amazing live, amazing songwriter.
There's an album by an artist called Arca, the album's called Zen. It's so complex and beautiful at the same time. You know, I produce electronic music myself, and a lot of the time I can figure out how somebody has done something, but I just could not figure out how these sounds were created. It had a huge impact.
I remember listening to the first album by Tom Veck, which is called We Have Sound. I think I'd never really heard somebody like fusing together kind of like dance music with sort of like rock music. It's still an album that I absolutely love.
Kid A by Radiohead. Like, it was just like silk curtains just constantly falling on you, sort of infinitely falling on you through this cycle of just, it was this beautiful experience. I think that was that for me, yeah.
You know, we really value our following in every country, but particularly in France. You know, it was the first place we ever played live that wasn't the UK. We felt really welcomed there and really listened to there. I think we've always felt that French audiences are very attentive.
Yeah, I'm very, you know, I think we're all very grateful for the support that we get.
It is lovely, yeah. We do love you guys.